Today on Tom's Tinkering and Adventures, the ugliest XR650R I have ever seen.
This is pretty much the worst video ever made.
Napoleon, like anyone can even know that.
Hello my friends, and welcome to Tom's Tinkering and Adventures, where we will be working on this 2003 Honda XR650R today. And a friend of mine got this. He traded like part of a boat or something for this. He doesn't have a lot of money invested into it. You know, he said the value of the boat and all that. But let's take a look at this thing and let's see if we can get it running and do a little assessment on it and see what it needs. So like I said, this is a 2003 XR650R. Let me double check to see the year, but I don't think it mattered. 2002 it says. I apologize. But I don't think it matters. I don't think these things changed over their run. I don't remember all the years that it was made. Late 90s, 98, 99 to 2005, 6. Well, we'll look it up and post it on here. But they made them for a while. This was the Baja bike for a couple years for Honda. They raced the Baja 500, 1000 with this bike until the CR450X took it over. And this thing is a little bit beat. I don't know what they've been doing with this bike. They slid the forks way up here in the triple clamps. The rear end looks really low. Subframe has been cut. Don't know what else they did to the back, but it has like no, what am I trying to think here? Extension on the shock when you lift it up. And this is like a sport bike exhaust, welded together here. Have no idea why there's a copper pipe on there. Who knows what that's all about. Kickstand, it's been cut off. It had a decent aftermarket tank, but somebody decided to spray paint it. Kind of a partial dual sport kit added on here. It is plumbed for brake lights. I didn't see, maybe there's one on the back. I didn't notice that. It does have a little computer here, but it doesn't look like any of that's hooked up. So I guess we'll start with seeing if it has spark. Okay, we're gonna see if we have some spark first. Spark plug is out. I think everything is on the way it's supposed to be. I can see spark. I don't know if y'all can see it. Let me get you closer here. Apologize if that's shaky as hell, but I can see some spark. So, what I think I'm going to do, I'm going to just spray some juice right down into the old spark plug hole. Lightly screw that thing in there and see if we can make this thing make a little pop. I'll put you right back here. We got some carburetor cleaner in the cylinder. The spark plug's back in there loosely, just barely touched down, and we'll kick it over and see if we can make some noise. That sounded like it was something. Okay, next thing. This is a Chinese knockoff carburetor. I am not afraid to put these things on weed eaters and lawnmowers, but they probably don't work worth a darn on motorcycles. At least they haven't, in my opinion. But I drained gas out of it. Where did I put it? I stuck it outside because it was so gross. Ew. But I have a auxiliary fuel cell. When I set it aside here somewhere. There we go. I'm gonna put a little bit of gas in here. Hang it right here. We'll run it down to this carburetor. Feed some fuel in it and see if we can get this thing to fire. I better check the oil first too. All right, so I hooked this thing up kind of only as good as I did. And fuel started already flowing out of here really quick. which probably tells me the float is stuck. There, see, it's coming out. So we're already overflowing the float. We'll shut the fuel off and we'll try it anyway. There's fuel in the bowl now, so let's see if we can get some noise out of this thing. I guess we'll see. Okay, whew. We might be just wasting time here. Make sure that thing stays. What a pile. Okay. All that said, I do have the stock original carb here. So I think I'll pop the bowl off of that, clean it up a little bit. We'll throw it in there and give her a shot. I also don't know, I don't have an air cleaner, and I don't know how well these things run without that. Some bikes run okay without them, some don't. So we'll see. So I just did a quick clean on this thing. I didn't soak it because I didn't have any new parts. And the bowl gasket is kind of not in the best of shape. And I didn't replace the needle valve in the float or any of that stuff, but well, we'll give her a shot. I turned some fuel on this one and it started dripping out a little bit out of the little overflow here, but it's not pouring out. And I tapped the float bowl a little bit and it kind of stopped, but maybe we're out of fuel, who knows. But we got fuel in it, so I'm gonna give her a few kicks and we'll see what happens. Good luck. Hey, we got something. What a mess. All right, well, we got something. So that's something. Let me see if I... God, this thing is terrible. All right, I apologize about the sun being in the frame over here, but it's just the time of the day. So the last video I shot, I think I kind of got it to pop a little bit. I got it to start for like 2 or 3 seconds and it never ran after that. And I kicked and kicked and kicked forever. And anyway, I ended up taking the carburetor back off, completely cleaned it in my ultrasonic. Maybe you can hear that going on in the background. I'm working on another carburetor at the same time here. Put it back together. I adjusted the valves. I did all kinds of stuff. Could never get this thing to fire. Anyway, I just started it like right before. Didn't have the camera rolling. So let's see if it'll restart. It's been sitting for about a minute, 2 minutes. That's a good way to break it ankle. It wants to go. start. Okay, so we have a running XR650. Now let's go over the things that are messed up on this bike. I think I've already showed you some of the stuff here with this exhaust pipe being off of who knows what. Subframe is cut. Airbox has holes in it. I noticed that first thing I saw was that this was bent in the radiator, and then in there I see there's a great big gouge in it. Actually, I didn't even check the coolant level, so I should probably do that if I run it anymore. Due to the subframe being cut, the side panels don't fit. The rear shock, something is messed up on this rear shock. It has like absolutely no sag, and I don't know why it's like that. But like you try to lift this thing up, you should have a little bit of suspension give. Like here, that's what I'm saying right now. It's like you should have a little bit of up give, like that. And this one has none. And I thought it was maybe cranked all the way up, but it's not. So I think that the shock is messed up. And who knows what else? We don't know. Actually, let me see if it'll start again. And I'll put it in gear and move it forward. Excuse the noise here. When it goes in here, it always makes a crappy noise. I apologize for that. Let's try and start it again. And I'll be happy if it starts, that's for sure. Transmission appears good. I mean, at least first gear. So I'll let it sit. We'll check the oil, we'll check the coolant, and who knows, maybe I'll throw the tank and the seat on it and ride it up and down the driveway, at least get it in the second and third gear. We got coolant leaks here. Yeah, it's dripping back there. Maybe it's just running down the skid plate or something. I don't know. I didn't follow where that's going. But we definitely have coolant leaks. I'm going to put a little bit of gas in this little thing and just ride it down the driveway and back up. Put the seat on it, or maybe just put a towel on there. But we'll ride it just to at least get it in the second gear. All right, so I think this thing is going to be on hold for now. We got it running, and I'm just going to be waiting to find out what we want to do. Decide if we're going to invest the money in putting this thing back to a decent XR650 or parting it out. And that's a pretty fine line at this point, because in my opinion, this thing needs about $1,000 worth of stuff to bring it up to a decent condition. And that's not a terrible investment for a XR650, but we really don't know a whole lot about it. I don't want to ride it a whole lot due to the radiator, and the fact that it's like completely ridiculous with the way they got this thing like choppered out and lowered in the back. It's silly, but anyway, I'm going to hand it off to the owner and let him decide what he wants to do with it. And you never know, it may come back here. If he decides he wants to put the money into it and turn it into something, we'll see it here again. But for now, we got it running. I took it for a little ride just up and down the driveway. Sorry I didn't shoot you any footage of that, but it wasn't too exciting just riding an ugly bike like this with no tank, no side covers, no air filter. And I actually had the auxiliary tank hanging from the handlebars, but I did get it in third gear, and it has a very tiny small sprocket on it, and it goes pretty fast. I imagine this thing boogies if you were to get it together and make it rideable, like real world rideable. All right, if you're liking my content, give me a thumbs up, leave a comment down below. If you're not already a subscriber, please consider doing so. Thank you very much for watching. Get out there and find your adventure. Adios.